Namaste and good evening. We'll start our class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrutyunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in distress and suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So today we are having class 30. Welcome everyone. We are in the last chapter of Manas, Uttarakanda, and we have already covered in the last couple of classes. In the last class, we covered that Lord Rama instructs his citizens about divine love or bhakti, as the human birth is extremely precious, and only in this birth can one make an effort for attaining the love for God and self-realization. Guru Vasishtha himself once visits Lord Rama and asks a boon for bhakti. And when Lord Shiva finally finishes telling the story of Lord Rama to Mother Parvati, so he says that, "Oh Parvati, look, I have told you everything. Whatever I heard from story Kāka-bhuśuṇḍi, which Kaka-bhushundi was telling Garuḍa, I have told you everything." So even though Lord Shiva is the original creator of Manas, he is the one who conceived it in the first place, but then he told it to other saints and sages. And when he is telling Mother Parvati right now, he is telling that he once also, when he told other saints and sages and in the passage of time, because he himself loved the story of Rama so much, he would himself go to different saints and sages and listen to the same story which he had conceived originally by himself. So in one such instance, he had gone to this ashram of Kaka-bhushundi, and he is telling Mother Parvati that, "Oh Parvati, whatever Kaka-bhushundi told Garuda, that I have told you all that story of divine story of Lord Rama. Are you happy? Do you have any more questions?" So Mother Parvati, she expressed her extreme joy, happiness, gratefulness. for this story of Lord Rama. She is very happy. She says, look, all my doubts are gone. Whatever I experienced in my previous birth as Sati, those doubts are completely at rest. I fully understand the divinity of Lord Rama, how the same absolute Brahman has taken the birth in the form of a human being, and after taking the birth, his plays are like sometimes as an ordinary human being, yet he remains the same Lord nevertheless. And then Parvati, after expressing her joy and gratitude, she is asking these further questions. She says, you told me that Kaka-bhushundi told this story to Garuda. What were the circumstances that Garuda approached Kaka-bhushundi? What were the circumstances that you went to Kaka-bhushundi to listen to this story? How Kaka-bhushundi attained this amazing devotion to Lord Rama despite being in the form of crow, because it is said that even for a human being, out of thousands, one even tries to follow the path of dharma, and out of those thousands, one attains the detachment and discrimination. And then out of those thousands, maybe one may attain the bhakti or divine love for Lord. So it is so rare, and he has attained it as a crow. What is the story of Kaka-bhushundi? So she asks all these questions. Lord Shiva is very happy because now, so far he was narrating the story of Lord Rama. Now Mother Parvati is asking the questions about the devotees, and Lord Shiva is very happy to narrate the stories of devotees of Lord Rama. So he starts that. So we saw, like, he first told that in what circumstances he had gone to Kaka-bhushundi ashram. And then he told that how Garuda, he got delusion, even though Garuda is the king of birds. He has the form of an eagle, a divine eagle. So even though he is the vehicle of Lord Ram, Lord Vishnu, and correspondingly Lord Rama, not when he is playing his human form, but otherwise because he is the same Lord. Despite that, when he saw Lord Rama in a noose of snakes, just like an ordinary person would be troubled and distressed by being in a noose, he got completely confused. How can this person, who is just like an ordinary person, got tied in a noose by such a puny Rakshasa, puny demon, how can he be the Lord of whole universe? So Garuda, and more he tried to reason it out, more confused he got. Then finally, he goes to Narada. Narada sends him to Brahma. Brahma sends him to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva sends him to Kaka-bhushundi, this divine crow. So finally, Garuda goes there, and that was the power of Kaka-bhushundi. That just in his ashram, in the certain area around his own place, any kind of effects of Maya could not enter. So even somebody could have whatever confusion, delusion, error, just the moment one enters, one will be free from those. And that's how Garuda experienced. Immediately his mind was so clear, he understood everything. And then he says to Kaka-bhushundi, "Oh sir, I want to listen to the story from you in detail of Lord Rama." And then Kaka-bhushundi was very happy. He started telling the whole story. So in Ramacharitamanasa, this story, the whole story of Lord Rama is again repeated in very short in Uttarakanda. So because we have already gone through the story, whole story. Maybe I can do it in the concluding class. Again, just the whole story in short. So, but here poet Tulsidas ji has also given the whole story of Lord Rama in about four verses. 4 verses means it's still in some length, because one verse, depending upon how do you count, it will be about this big. So that's how it has been. And then after telling the story, Garuda is extremely happy, extremely grateful. And he says, now my doubt is completely gone, listening to the story of Lord Rama. I have attained the devotion to the feet of Lord Rama, and it's all because of your grace, O Kaka-bhuśuṇḍi. And Kaka-bhushundi says that, look, joy is mine to have you near me, because you are such a great devotee. You are always in service to Lord. You are such a great devotee to Lord. So I believe this confusion or delusion of yours, it was just a Lord's play to bring you here so that I can have your darshan. And when you talk of this confusion or delusion of yours, this is not to be wondered at. Every single being is subjected to Lord's Maya, and Lord has a very special way for his own devotees. When he sees his own devotees getting some very subtle amount of ego or pride, he does some play, he does something that person will get into a situation, and finally he will be rid of his delusion and confusion. And this has happened to great saints and sages. This has happened to Narada. It is extremely difficult that one be not subjected to Lord's Maya. Only one who has completely taken refuge in Lord himself. He knows no other support other than Lord's lotus feet. Only that person is free from the glitches of Lord's Maya. So he's just giving some examples, some like this Maya, how does it affect, in what forms? So Tulsidas ji has given a long list. I'm just reading out to a few things. Mohana andha ki na kehi kehi, ko jag kamana chavana jehi, Trishna kehi na kina bauraha, kehi kar hridaya krodha nahi daha, jnani tapas sur kavi, ko vid gun agar, kehi ke lobha vidambana, kin nahi sansar, Srimad Bakr na kin kehi, prabhuta badhir na kahi, मृगलोचन के नैन सर को असलाग न जाए. So he's saying, is there anybody who has not been blinded by the delusion or infatuation? Is there anybody whom passion and lust have not made dance? Is there anybody who has not been maddened by the thirst for enjoyments? Is there anybody whose heart has not been burned with anger? Great people of knowledge, meditation, austerities, all these is there anyone who has not been affected by the greed? Is there anybody who has not behaved in a prideful manner under the influence of wealth? Is there anybody who has not turned deaf because he got a lot of power? Is there anyone who has not been smitten by the glances of a beautiful young woman? And like this, he is basically saying is there anybody who has not been affected by the worries? Is there anybody who has not been affected by the different kind of desires? Then he talks about 3 types of desire: Sut, Bit, Lok, Ishna, Tini. There are all the desires of human beings for the worldly things. In one analysis, they have been combined in 3 categories. So, for the progeny, for the wealth. So, Putreshna, Vitteshna, Lokeshna. Ishna means desire. Sutta means for the progeny, for a person, like even for a monk, it is maybe for the disciples or for the followers. So it can affect that person in that sense. Vitta for the wealth, and for Lok for name and fame. So these are the 3 major desires affecting the human beings. So whose intellect is not got clouded by these 3 desires, he is saying. So he's saying all these are as if the family of Maya. They are so powerful. It's very who has been able to cross all this family of Maya. But this Maya, however powerful it may be, it is like a maid servant to Lord Rama. And even though it is so powerful, it seems so powerful, all these things, yet in the essence, in the final analysis, it doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist. So despite it essentially non-existing, yet it is so powerful that without the grace of Lord Rama, one is not free from its effect. And then he is saying that it is for the sake of devotees that Lord has taken the form of Lord Rama as the son of a king and then king himself. And then he does all these plays which are so amazing, so sacred, and yet very human-like. When somebody sees these kind of things, one may get confused. How can he be the Lord? He is behaving just like an ordinary human being. But as far as the Lord is concerned, it is like one actor, he plays different roles. He behaves as per the role, yet he does not become that role. But people get confused who are seeing, and they put their delusion or confusion on the Lord himself. It is like somebody develops a disease in the eyes and sees everywhere yellowish and says, oh, this thing is yellow, that thing is yellow. Or like somebody is going in a vehicle and you look out of the window and you see as if the trees are moving backwards, the buildings are moving backwards. So he's saying similarly, this error or this weakness, this delusion, people ascribe to Lord himself instead of on themselves. So their own delusion and error, they ascribe it to Lord Rama, as if Lord Rama is deluded. He is crying out of infatuation. He is weak. That's why he got bounded, like that. And then he tells Garuda, "Oh Garuda, you are not the only one, not the first one. I myself have been a victim of this Maya. And last time he said I was a victim, it was in a very subtle way. I did not have to face all the effects of Maya, but Lord did cure me of my delusion and infatuation." And I'll tell you that story. So this is another quality of great saints and sages. They do not hesitate to tell their own weaknesses to other spiritual seekers with the perspective if they can get some inspiration from them. So he's saying, as you know, I stay here, and every age, every kalpa, Lord takes birth as Lord Rama in Ayodhya. And every time when he takes birth, I go there. The Lord Rama as a baby, that is the form I love the most. So I go there, I watch his play, he plays with me, and I spend like that some time there. So he says, once upon a time, when it happened, I was there, Lord was smiling, he was trying to catch me, I would fly away, and then he will cry, and then when I come near, he will start laughing, and then when I go to try to touch his feet, he would run away, and then again look back at me. So in this very ordinary childlike play, when he was doing, Kaka-bhushundi says, looking at this, I got a little confusion. Is he the Lord? Is he the same Lord of universe? By his wish, the universe is coming to existence, go out of existence. He's just playing like an ordinary child. The moment that thought, the confusion came to Kaka-bhushundi's mind, and he could not resolve it, the Lord again tries to catch hold of him as if in a child's play. And then Kaka-bhushundi, because he is in the form of a crow, he flies away. But there is an interesting thing he happened. He sees behind him, Lord's arm has just kept extending. So as a crow, he is flying away very high in the sky, and Lord's arm, his hand, just extending, always following his body, always with a little gap, but always there. He goes into so many planes of existence because he was endowed with so many siddhis, so many powers. But wherever he went, in whichever plane of existence he went, he always found this Lord's arm coming behind him. Just a difference of 2 fingers, like 2 fingers is like this. So just this much difference. It's always there. The similar story comes in the play of Lord Krishna. In Vrindavan, once he did some mischief, and his mother, Yashoda, she wanted to tie him. And she got a rope, and when she tries to tie the rope around Lord's belly, who's a child, baby Krishna, she finds that rope is short by two finger length. She got a bigger rope. Again, she tries to tie the Lord. Again, it was 2 fingers short. No matter what she tried, however big she tried to get a cord or rope, she always found it 2 fingers short. And then finally, when she gives up, Lord Krishna, he got himself tied with the rope. One of the name has become Damodar. Dama means rope. Udara means belly, one who gets tied around the belly by the rope. So one of Lord Krishna's name is Damodara. So similarly here, Kaka-bhushundi is always seeing Lord's arm coming, but always at the distance of 2 finger length. Finally, because he had gone to everywhere he could go and could not really free himself from Lord's arm following him, he just closed his eyes. And then when after he opens his eye, he finds himself in the same compound in Ayodhya with Lord Rama playing as baby Rama. And then he is wondering about all these things. Lord just laughs. The moment he laughs, Kaka-bhushundi just goes inside his mouth, as if they just pulled into his inside the Lord's mouth. And then he goes into the belly of the Lord, and there he sees countless and countless universes. Such amazing things that he had never saw or even thought of earlier. He just seeing so many amazing things. He just roaming in different universes there. And he's seeing many things very similar, yet somewhat different. In every universe, he is seeing a Lord Rama, along with his father, his mother, his brothers, all his plays. And he spends quite a few years in every universe. And he's seeing all these things, but he says everywhere he went, even though Lord's play was slightly different, his companions, they were same but slightly different, but Lord Rama himself was ever the same. He never was another Lord Rama. So he says he saw different creators, different Brahma, different Vishnu, different Shiva, all the different other gods in different universes, but always he saw the same Lord Rama. And like that, roaming around in different universes, he said millions and billions of years passed, because he was to roam around in universe, it will take time, and he was countless universes, he's saying, all while he is in the belly of the Lord. And then finally he got really tired. In whatever universe he also saw himself in all those universes. So he finally found his hermitage, his ashram. He went there, spent some time, took rest, and then he hears again about birth of Lord Rama in Ayodhya. So again he flies there. He sees Lord Rama again as child Rama. And in all this, he is so confused. And then Lord smiles again. And he comes out of the belly of the Lord Rama again in front of Lord Rama. So then he realized that all these things, what he was seeing for billions of years, these countless universes, he was all the while in the belly of Lord Rama. And only a few minutes had passed instead of these billions of years. Just 1 hour maybe had passed. When he was seeing all this, he was so confused, and then Lord just gave him he just surrendered to Lord completely, because he just could not understand anything. Just out of that surrender, grace of Lord dawned upon him, and he was free from all this confusion and delusion. And he's saying that even though all these differences which are created by Maya, essentially they are not real. Yet, without the grace of Lord, they do not go away, no matter what one does. So without devotion to Lord, if somebody wants ultimate liberation of freedom, He may be a very learned person, but his understanding is like an intellect of a animal, that he wants to attain the final liberation without taking the recourse to devotion to the Lord. And then when Lord Rama again starts playing with him just like as a child play, and then he sees the devotion of kāka-bhuśuṇḍi, and he says, I'm very happy to you. You can ask me any boon you want. I can give you whatever you want. I can give you great knowledge, wisdom, the siddhis of yoga, whatever you want, you ask me. Then Kaka-bhushundi thinks, oh, Lord has told me everything, including knowledge and liberation, that he can give me. But he hasn't told me that he will give me his bhakti. So then he says, if you really want to give me something, then give me your devotion to your feet, unalloyed devotion. I should not have recourse to anything else other than you. Ever and ever, that kind of devotion. I would like you to give me. Then Lord was extremely happy to hear that, and he says, you are indeed wise that you have asked the boon of divine love, the devotion. So I do give you my devotion. In addition, I give you all the divine qualities, they reside in you. All the secrets of yoga, knowledge, and all other spiritual practices, they will come to you, and you don't have to do any spiritual practice for that. This is my boon for you. Not only that, you will never again be subjected to Maya, this delusion and confusion. Understand me in the human form as the same as Brahman, the Absolute, who is without any attributes, without subject to time or space. So you will never have the confusion about this anymore. And the time will not affect you. You will always be able to remember me and worship me. And Kaka-bhushundi is telling Garuda that listening to the Lord, I'm so happy that even if I want to tell you, it's not possible to describe, because the joy was experienced by my ears and eyes, and they don't have the power to speak. The tongue, which has the power to speak, that does not know that joy. So then he says that after spending some more time in Ayodhya, watching Lord's play, I came back to my ashram, my hermitage. And he says, I told you all these things, how the Lord's Maya made me dance. And then he says here, Nij anubhav ab kahau khagesa, binu hari bhajan na jahi kalesa, Ram krupa binu sun khagarai, jani na jai Ram prabhutai, jane binu na hoi partiti, binu partiti hoi nahi priti, प्रीति बिना नहीं भगति दृढ़ाई, जिमि खगपति जल के चिकनाई. So he's saying, look, I tell you my own experience, my own gist of what I have understood. That the afflictions, the worldly afflictions, they do not go away except by devotion to the Lord. Without His grace, listen Garuda, one does not understand the greatness of Lord Himself. It is only because of His grace then one understands His greatness. And without knowing, without understanding His greatness, you do not see the things as they are. And without seeing the things as they are, you do not develop the love for Lord. Without this love for the Lord, His devotion to His lotus feet, that does not become firm. It comes and goes. Like he's giving the example of just like some fat on the water. It does not stay as a firm. So he's saying it is like this. He's saying, is it ever possible that one attains knowledge without Guru? Without having the knowledge of what is real, what is unreal? How is that possible for one to attain the discrimination? The ultimate happiness, the happiness the joy which is described by the scriptures, is it possible to attain without the devotion to the Lord? Can one attain the restfulness, the peace of the mind, without developing the contentment? Can a boat travel without water, no matter how much efforts one makes? So like that, he is giving some similes to describe the beauty and the importance of Lord's devotion to the Lord. And then he says, whatever I have told you, little bit I knew as per my own understanding, I have shared with you. Everybody tells Lord's story as per their own intellect, because nobody truly knows Lord's glories. So to say that is it, it's not right. Everybody, no matter whoever that is, they only tell as per their own intellect. Their understanding of the Lord is as per their own intellect. You can never say that this is it. Just like he says that you yourself, as well as all the birds, including the mosquitoes and the flies, they all fly in the space. Yet nobody can find the edge of the space, that space is only this much. So it is like, similarly, Lord's play, Lord's glory is infinite. Everybody tries to describe in their own manner. And this is another thing, that whatever you say about Lord as any superlative, they all sort of fall short only. They never describe the Lord. It is like somebody who only knows the glow of a glowworm or firefly and has to describe the glow of sun, might say that it is like millions and billions of firefly, but does that truly describe the sun's glow, sun's brightness? Similarly, people describe Lord as per their own intellect and understanding, but nobody can truly describe the Lord. Then finally, Garuda, he is saying that I'm so happy you shared all this with me. I have one more question. How did you get this body, the body of a crow? I'm very surprised that you have all the knowledge, you have all the devotion, every divine quality resides in you, and you have been in this body, which is not considered particularly great body. It's even as per the scriptures, the body of a crow is not considered very auspicious. So how did you get this body, and you are maintaining this body? And also, how is it that the time does not affect you? Time which affects everybody, everything in this universe. How is it that it does not affect you? And also I noticed one more thing. The moment I entered in the premises of your ashram, all my delusion went away. What is the reason for that? So Garuda is asking all these questions. So Kaka-bhushundi says, "Oh Garuda, I am so happy that you are asking all these questions. I'll tell you in detail all the things which you have asked." So one thing I understand, that the purpose of all the spiritual practices, all the austerities, all the meditation, all the yoga, all the purpose, the fruit of all these things, all the good deeds, fruit of all these things is devotion to Lord Rama. Because I attained the devotion to Lord Rama in this body, in the body of a crow, therefore it is very dear to me. And he says it is very common that whoever does something good to you, you develop some affection for that thing. Because in this body I attain the devotion to Lord Rama, I have a little bit affection for this form. Even though I can take any form, and I can give up my body whenever I wish to, yet I keep it in the same form, because in this form I attain the devotion to Lord Rama. And he's saying that that body alone is holy, that body alone is beautiful, in the body in which one attains the devotion to Lord Rama. Otherwise, however beautiful your body may be, it's like nothing. It's a heap of some very disagreeable elements like blood, bones, flesh, kind of thing. Then he says, your question that how did I attain this body? So he says, I'll tell you a story of my past birth. And because of your question, memories of many past births have flooded my mind. So I'll tell you the long time ago. Once upon a time, I was born in Ayodhya in the time of Kali Yuga. Normally we say this is our Kali Yuga time period, the fourth Yuga which is going on. So he says I was born in Ayodhya, the city of Lord Rama. And I was born as a low caste person. But I did not develop any love, despite being born in the city of Ayodhya. I did not get any love for Lord Rama. The Kali Yuga itself, he is describing the Kali Yuga, its negative aspects, that people do not follow dharma, children do not listen to the parents, parents are also not necessarily always caring for the children. All the do's and don'ts described in the scriptures, people just laugh at it. They don't follow those things. Even the disciples, they do not always follow their guru. Guru also may have sometimes many preoccupations, may not always be available for the disciples. And like that, he is describing a lot of such things. And people are subjected to lot of disease, both in the body, disease of the body and disease of the mind. And people go as per their own desires, own understanding, rather than going by the words of saints and sages and words of scriptures. And they imagine their own path. Oh, this path will take me to the final liberation. And therefore you will find so many paths coming up in the Kali Yuga. And like that, he's describing in a quite detail if you read original Manas. So I'm not going into that, but he says because of the effect of time, because I took birth in this Kali Yuga, and also in a low family, low caste family. My mind was also having a lot of ego, pride, haughtiness, and here is saying that, when he was describing Kali Yuga, he is telling that even though Kali Yuga has all these negative things, one beautiful thing about Kali Yuga is that in Kali Yuga, one can attain liberation just by devotion to Lord's feet. One doesn't have to do tremendous amount of austerities and penances, which is required for people of other yugas. So one should, giving up all the other priorities, one should make devotion to Lord himself as the priority for oneself. So he is describing his own story whereby he was born this person, but he had a devotion to Lord Shiva. But he was very diffident. He was very like only Lord Shiva matters, and he would envy, he would hate all other divine forms, including Lord Vishnu or Lord Rama. So in this pride and ego, once there was a famine in Ayodhya, he had to leave Ayodhya. So he goes to this city of Lord Shiva called Ujjaini in today's Madhya Pradesh in India. This city of Ujjain, this is a very historical city, and it is considered as one of the cities of Lord Shiva. There is a great temple there, temple of Mahakala. So he goes there, he is in the temple, he is trying to worship Lord Shiva, and there he finds one very pious Brahmin, a Brahmin who was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So he chooses that person as his guru, and he takes the initiation into Shiva mantra from that Brahmin. That Brahmin accepts him as a disciple. And even though he got the initiation into mantra, Shiva mantra, and he would chant it, he would try to practice his thing. But this idea that what am I doing is right, Lord Shiva alone is the truth, everybody else is wrong, this will not go away from his mind. So even when Guru saw this thing into him, Guru tried to make him understand, look, what you are doing is not right. It is one divinity, has taken many forms. And he said, if you read the scriptures, even Lord Shiva, he worships Vishnu, Lord Vishnu and his forms. So for you, there is no reason to have hatred or enmity towards other divine forms. Please don't do that. It will not please Lord Shiva. So like that, but instead of listening to Guru, when he hears Guru saying that even Lord Shiva worships Vishnu, he even starting disliking his own Guru. Kaka-bhuśuṇḍi is describing that proud, perverse, wretched as I was, I did not even respect my Guru. But Guru did not take any offense on that part. He just concerned about his well-being, the disciples' well-being, and again tries to make him understand whenever the occasion arises. But the Kaka-bhuśuṇḍi says, I was not listening to my Guru at all. Once what happened, he went into this Shiva temple and he is doing his japa of Lord Shiva's mantra. At the same time, Guru also arrived there. But out of his pride, out of his haughtiness, Kaka-bhuśuṇḍi says, I did not bow down to Guru. Because he had started thinking, because Guru does not have exclusive devotion to Lord Shiva, and I have exclusive devotion to Lord Shiva, I am superior to him. So he did not bow down to Guru. Guru did not mind that part, but Lord Shiva could not tolerate. Lord Shiva, there was a curse. He pronounced a curse upon him that, oh, you fool, you do not understand anything. You think by chanting my mantra and by hating the other divine forms, you will attain me. That is never going to happen. You did not even have respect to Guru. You kept sitting as if your Guru is like nothing to you. You behave like a snake. So I curse you that you become a snake and attain all sort of miseries in the multiple lives you forms. And then you will learn. When Guru heard that, Lord Shiva pronouncing a curse on his disciple, his heart melted. He prayed to Lord Shiva. So he says, oh Lord, have mercy. Please do something that this curse may turn into a boon for him. So you see how Guru's heart is working for the disciple. Disciple disrespects Guru, doesn't care. Guru, first of all, does not get angry because of that. He does not think anything wrong of disciple. Even though Lord Shiva could not tolerate this disrespect of Guru by disciple, he pronounces curse. And again, Guru is only praying to Lord Shiva for the betterment of disciple. So there is a very famous stuti of Lord Shiva, which was sung by Guru. It's very popular stotram. So I am not very good in the singing, but I'll just read a few lines. Namami Shamishana Nirvana Rupam Vibhum Vyapakam Brahma Veda Swarupam Nijam Nirgunam Nirvikalpam Niriham Chidakashamakashavasam Bhajeham Nirakaramomkaramulam Turiyam Giragyana Gotitamisham Girisham Karalam Mahakalakalam Krupalam Gunagara Sansara Param Natoham. So in this way, he praises Lord Shiva. And finally, Lord Shiva is pleased. He appears, he manifests himself. Guru bows down to him. And he says, first, Lord Shiva asks that, ask me of a boon. I am very pleased with you. So he says, for one, I want to seek the devotion to your lotus feet. And then I have another boon to ask, that he is my disciple, he is ignorant. In his ignorance, he may have committed some mistakes. But you are Lord of compassion, ocean of compassion. That he may attain supreme good, please do so. Then he says, okay, even though he did some terrible things and I have cursed him, my curse will not completely go in vain. But what I can do is that he will not have the pains associated with births and deaths. So he will take many lives. He will take many births. But he will not face any pain related to what an ordinary person suffers through birth and death. He also will not lose his memory. Eventually, he can continue his sadhana, and then eventually he will also attain the love for Lord Rama. And he says, another boon I give you from my side, that you can go anywhere you want, in any plane of existence. You will have unobstructed access everywhere. So like Lord Shiva, he really converts his curse into a boon because Guru interceded on his behalf. So, and then Lord Shiva tells him that always remember, never disrespect any saints or sages, because it is one of the harshest crime for a spiritual seeker. So like that, Kaka-bhushundi says, I went home and exactly the same thing happened. I went through many births and he always could continue his sadhana, his devotion to Lord Rama. Now he developed the devotion to Lord Rama. He was doing his sadhana and he never lost his memory. He never felt any pain from going from one birth to another birth. And he says, and I was very happy, I was very pleased. My mind was becoming very sattvic. But again and again, I remembered my Guru's compassion and his grace. That was something which always, when I remembered my behavior, it gave me tremendous pain. And saw on the other side Guru's compassion and love. And then he says, slowly, slowly, I was free from the bondage of desires. And then a desire actually arose in my mind, the desire to see Lord Rama. Lord Rama is in his form, actually to witness Lord Rama. Then I will consider my life successful. And he says that whoever I went to, which different sages I visited, they will all say that Lord is everywhere. Lord is in the form of all the beings. He is beyond any time, space, and attributes. So this aspect of Lord, which is impersonal, that did not appeal to my heart so much. I wanted to experience the Lord in a very personal manner. So like that, he visited different sages and saints, and finally he goes to Sage Lomash. There is a very famous saint called Sage Lomash. So finally he goes to him. And then, because the time is up, we'll describe that story of Kaka-bhushundi in our next class. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write in the chat window. Otherwise, I'll conclude the class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.